Let me start with the good news this week with your Fijian centre. He's in the building. What influence has he had?
Yeah, well, look, he's settled in really well. He's been taken in by the group well around sort of his initiation in the team meeting on Monday morning. The room ended up in good song, which was good. He's got a good voice, which is a bonus as well in case we get into a singing contest anywhere. But he's brought a good energy in the room, brought some feel-good factor. His quality is unquestionable, and obviously that rubs off on everybody. And even in the 3 sessions that he's had on grass, he looks comfortable. He's picked things up really fast, and you can see already the young players and more of the experienced players are already picking his brains around stuff. So he's had a really good first few days, and I think his family have settled in pretty well as well. So it's a good start.
Will we see him in your 23 on Saturday?
Well, you might and you might not. You'll have to wait and see. We'll wait for one of our very flashy team announcements that Harrison puts together. Everybody's up for consideration that's fit at the moment, and obviously we'll confirm our selection a little bit later today.
How is his fitness, Mark? Because he hasn't played a lot since November. How's he looking in that respect?
Yeah, look, we don't know, do we? We've only had 3 sessions with him, but certainly in the sessions we've had and the themes of the day we've had with the sessions, he's looked comfortable in all of them. So competed pretty hard today in our final sort of siege day, and yeah, look, he looks ready to play if called upon.
And three players released to the Ospreys by a Cardiff coach. That's very generous, isn't it?
It is very generous. I suppose he's been on the other side of the fence over the last few weeks and previous campaigns, so he understands how important those players are to the regions in these blocks. And he's got his own big fixture himself this weekend, so it'd be pretty tough to hold certain ones back and not be fair around it all. And Jockey's communicated really well with myself around the players, both staying in camp and have come back. And yeah, the process has been easy, so it's been good.
With Dan Edwards coming back in, Matt was very keen to stress last week when he was obviously involved in the first 2 games but not in the third one, that Dan is going to be somebody who's going to be around for a long time, and it was very important in his development. With him coming back to you now after with Wales, what are you expecting from him this weekend?
We just want him to be the same player that he was before he went away, in terms of his work ethic, in terms of his attention to detail, and then obviously when he's on the field we want him to bring his point of difference, which is clear for everybody to see. It's great exposure for him, training up in national camp with players in different environments, from different environments, and then obviously preparing to play against teams and that are, although the players are the same in many respects with the Six Nations, i.e. the English League, the European comp, he does see those players, but obviously they're wearing different shirts. So I think to go up against those players in their national jerseys has been good for him, and the preparation, it's a different set of eyes, a different way of doing things, and he's going to bring that experience back with him as well. So we just want him to come back and enjoy, if I'm honest with you.
Derry Lake, good news. You always indicated that he was somebody who gets back ahead of time, and he's done that. He'll be involved with Wales, not yourself, sort of this week and next week. Is he the sort of player who just can sort of slot back into international rugby quite quickly and doesn't really need maybe that game at URC level?
I think that's a difficult one for me to answer, really, because I'm not sure if he's ever been in this position before, where he would have been injured for as long as he has, and then his first sort of potential outing could be starting or coming off the bench in a Wales-Scotland game. So I'm not. It's difficult for me to say whether he can do that. He's got the capability of doing it for sure. His talent is without question, and his physicality and his mentality are without question. So I suppose it'll be the first time he's done something, and if he is selected, I've no doubt he'll have done himself or done the best he can to make sure he's ready to play.
And you've got Sam Parry back as well, so you've got that covering hooker this weekend.
Yeah, like I've said before, we're so lucky here with all our hookers actually that we've got in and around the squad. Awesome, they all got their own strengths, they've got their own points of difference. Sam's been he's a class bloke, he's led really well this week since coming back in around the set piece, and even in the meeting this morning, he's speaking well and leading well on that front. So yeah, love having Sammy around, and we're in a fortunate position here. We've got great hookers that we can all call upon when needed.
Glasgow, the champions up there, during the Six Nations. How do you go with their sort of squad? What's the challenge they've got? Because they've got a few boys back as well, haven't they?
Yeah, well, as you said, they're the champions. They've got a great squad. You don't win a league without having depth and with having quality in your second and third lines. And we're all dipping into our second and third lines, potentially in this block, because we've got 18 unavailable ourselves through injury and sort of national selection. So it was the same last time we played Leinster. I suppose we've got reasonable depth as well, and we're pretty comfortable with our team that we're putting out in these blocks, and that's all we can focus on. And obviously, whoever Scotland select, we'll have to be respectful of that and make sure that we're ready for the task, because it's going to be a tough one.
Thank you, Mark. Good luck in the weekend.
Thank you. Good to speak to you.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hi. How are you doing? You well?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Obviously, a bit of good news last week. Your under-18s won the regional age grade. Fixtures bright in Australia, obviously.
Oh, look, we're very lucky. The region itself, from west to east, is very strong. It's got lots of variety in the club game and the school game that brings different types of players into our region. And it's been strong for a number of years. There's been a lot of talent that's already been well documented over the last few years that's come through the academy, and the boys do a great job down there of identifying it, nurturing it, and then obviously passing it on up to us to try and sort of I suppose gloss up and put the icing on the cake with them, if you like. So we know we're very fortunate to have the quality in our region to choose from, and this crop certainly look like they've got the minerals as well to push for academy and senior academy spots. But yeah, so we're delighted. I think the most important thing out of those age grade games is making sure that you've got the best team, if you like, but you need to have players coming through that can make the step as well. It's not just about having the best team, it's about having players that can actually take the next step from a physical and a technical point of view. So it's always a mixture that you're looking for, and I think we've got, in that group, we've got a mixture of both. We've got players that we think can take the next step, and we've got players that have just done an awesome job in their age group.
Yeah, so which players from that group really impressed you that you think have the potential to take the next step?
If I'm honest with you, I haven't had my hands on them as coaches. They've been left in the academy at the moment, training with the boys there. So it wouldn't be right for me to talk specific names, because I haven't spent enough time. What I have been able to do is watch some of their games and have a little look at them. And all I know is there's guys in there that have got good symmetry with our DNA, and there's guys in there that have got a little bit of X factor that we think that, given the right opportunity, it could flourish. Albeit they're still very young.
In terms of the here and now then, and potentially making the playoffs, do you think that you're entering sort of must-win territory? Is this game a game you really need to win? Because obviously we're going into the second half of the season, and you're outside the playoffs, so you obviously need to pick up points quite quickly. Yeah,
look, I think once you get past the halfway post, unless you're heads and shoulders above everybody else, you need to win every game really, or you need to get as much out of every game as you can. It's an away game, so I think away games are historically tougher, aren't they? And particularly when you go to somewhere like Glasgow, where I think they've lost one game since 2021. So it's not a must-win, but we'd certainly like to get a win, because as you said, it will certainly help in that points balance. We are sitting a bit lower than we'd like, but I think we're probably 5 or 6 points away from sitting in the top 8. So that's a win and a couple of bonus points. So we're pretty comfortable where we are. We want to get something out of the game, and clearly we go into every game to win. So that's without question.
Great. Thanks, Mark, and good luck for the weekend.
Thanks very much, Steph. Cheers.
That was the point I was going to ask you, Mark. I mean, in your very flashy press release from Mr. Andrews this week, you said that you wanted to push to get into the playoffs again and to keep going in Europe. I mean, the fact that you feel you can still push on those two fronts must be great motivating factors for the team. Yeah,
it was certainly selecting squads to win games in both competitions, and we'll continue to do that until it becomes mathematically impossible for us not to get into the playoff rounds of each competition. So we're definitely approaching it like that. We know that we need to keep the spine of the team together, but we also have to make sure we freshen the team up at the right times and give energy as well, because sometimes energy trumps quality if quality is really tired or fatigued or injured. So we need to make sure that we get the balance right. The fact that there's down weeks in between games at the moment is allowing all teams, I think, to select pretty consistently. We won't go massively off piste from where we've been in the last few rounds, but there's obviously opportunity to bring people in and either sort of freshen up or rest certain individuals for what's to come as well.
There was certainly enough in that performance against Leinster to give you confidence as well.
Yeah, there was enough in the performance to win. We had an opportunity, and when it's a one-score game, you obviously can win. So I think there was a lot of quality shown against a quality outfit, and we showed enough there that should give us confidence this week. But it also shows that you can play well and still not win. And I think the Dragons got stuck into Glasgow, more recently for the first sort of 25 minutes, and it looked like a good contest. And then Glasgow were just able to take 2 or 3 sort of half chances and blow the game wide open. And we know playing the best sides, that can happen at any point in the game.
Yeah, but you certainly knocked Leinster out of this stride, and I guess that's what you've got to do with Glasgow as well, isn't it? If they start playing their game and have the space and time to do it, then they can be devastating. Yeah,
without a doubt. We've, as I said before the Leinster game, we've really played Glasgow the respect that they've earned and they deserve through their performances in previous years, but also this season. And as much as we said, both teams are missing players, there's going to be 2 very good teams put out on the park on Saturday night. And as you said, if one of the teams doesn't get it quite right or emotionally don't get themselves quite where they need to be, the other team's capable of taking advantage. So we're well aware of that, and the boys will be well prepared for that for sure.
Just coming back briefly to Dan, I mean, he probably needs a game now, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think when you're a young player, I think time in the saddle is really important, particularly in a decision-making position like halfback in particular. 9 and 10 touch the ball more than anybody else, so the ball goes through them, and the rhythm that you get through playing is very important, particularly around managing the game. So I think it's a good thing for us and for Wales that he's back, and having him in our 23 is really important this week around the balance for him, but also for us as a team.
Nice Levi was even old enough to have played against you, isn't he?
Well, are you saying I'm young for my age here, or are you saying
that's
that?
Obviously what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying. Look, of course he's in the latter end of his career, but we know when you work with the very, very best, and if I use a Ronaldo analogy there around how long Messi, these guys, they've prolonged their careers through the professionalism that they've shown, the way that they treat their bodies, and if you took his birth certificate out of the picture and just looked at him as a physical specimen, you wouldn't be saying that he's the age that he is. So, we've got him for a short period of time. He'll only be 4 or 5 months older than what he is now by the time he finishes playing for us, and we're just excited about maximising, what he's got. And listen, he could have sat back and relaxed until the start of next season, but he wanted to play because he knows, he loves it, that's the most important thing for us. He's here because he wants to play rugby, and we've got an opportunity to give him that time.
Never take a Fiji for granted. It'll be little and larger in the middle then.
Yeah, well, maybe not. Maybe. We're going to make sure we set him up to succeed. He's only had 3 training sessions with us, so we want to make sure when he pulls the shirt on that he feels comfortable in doing so. So we've also got some other good options here around Davadi and around Kieran, and we've got young Tom Florence who's learning his trade. So we'll put YC out there when we think he's ready to perform at his best, and around the people that we think can get the best out of him.